for those who don't know, and I'm sure everyone in this channel does know, but Jim Harbaugh and is it Jim Tepper? Dave Tepper. Dave Tepper, the owner of the Panthers, Carolina Panthers, have had a conversation. Or there's reports that it was not an interview, which is very odd because Tepper would, in fact, be someone who would either help or directly hire the head coach, and they currently have a head coaching vacancy. They have an interim head coach right now, but just gosh, a few weeks back we had Jim Harbaugh had quelled an NFL rumor pretty quickly. I think it was within a day or two that
Emphatically, actually. It
yes,
was
that I am going to be coaching Michigan Wolverines in 2023. So there was he absolutely squashed that one. And that doesn't seem to be the case with this rumor. Now, maybe some people would say, well, that, this new rumor falls under the statute of limitations of his last statement of what he said. But at the end of the day, it's a new rumor. And you also had a conversation. So I don't know. But Mark, what are your thoughts on it?
What is the quote that Jim Harbaugh made after everything went down last year and he went back to Michigan for whatever reason? It was something
he's
about being
I'm
the coach for a long,
paraphrasing.
long time or something.
Right. No, to paraphrase Mark, he was saying that essentially he scratched that itch, and he's kind of gone through the process and all that crap, and essentially he no longer has an interest in the NFL. He's here to stay. That was the paraphrasing of what he said, which we
And
all
right
pretty
here,
much.
this will not be a reoccurring theme every year. Jim
Okay.
Harbaugh told the Free Press,
Hmm.
this was a one-time thing. That
Yeah. So much
was,
for that.
yep.
Yeah, these coaches need to be careful what they say, especially in this day and age. In the last 10 or 15 years of the internet, in particular, social media, everything gets kept. It's somewhere, easily found by Des right there. But even if it's been buried or deleted, somebody's got it. And so you just have to be careful. You can certainly think there's in the back of your mind, there's a possibility that there's going to be a job of interest. And to be, if he's that unaware of himself and not that self-aware, to be caught up in the moment that much to think, okay, yeah, I made this commitment to Michigan, I never care about an NFL opening ever again, then he's either just saying what he needs to say in the moment and being partially deceitful, or he's not self-aware at all to know, hey, I'm a competitive guy. I've coached in this league. I coached in the Super Bowl. If I came this close and was this interested now, look at all the possibilities of things that could happen to the program that would be out of his control, that would cause him to want to go to the NFL in a year or two or 5 or 10, whatever the case might be. So just foolish that he states things like that. He could emphasize, I love Michigan, love being here. This is my school. That's what I'm going to tell you. But I believe he made a statement. Somebody quoted him and posted on Twitter that he thinks he will be the Michigan coach next year.
Thanks. Right.
Yes.
A very
Yes.
indirect answer, a very a roundabout answer.
Very
And
telling answer. He thinks, if I think I'm going to do something, usually, I don't know, my
I think
60.
one day I'll be a millionaire. I really do. Like I think just like if I keep playing the lottery, one day I'm going to win. Be a millionaire. But no, it's just very, very, very frustrating because look, and I can't even respond to Gladiator for Freedom right now. I think I kind of see where you come from a Michigan standpoint. You kind of fall into the homer. Sorry, I put you there, Gladiator, but you're really looking like a big homer right now. We can't say nothing negative about Michigan. So okay, thank you for saying who you are without saying it. But it's no other big time program has to deal with this on a year to year basis. No one.
Right.
Like, and that's really frustrating. Saban doesn't do this every year at Alabama. Dabo doesn't do this every year with Clemson. While Lincoln Riley was at Oklahoma, you don't have this every year. No one else has to deal with this. Ryan Day doesn't do this every year with Ohio State. Like it's not fair to the university to have to deal with this uncertainty every off season where they since the time you have arrived to that campus, they've given you carte blanche to do anything you want. My apologies, guys. You guys hear the baby in the background.
Yeah.
But they give you carte blanche to do anything that you want, right? They give you a endless budget to get any assistant you want. They've allowed you to do so much. No one has approached you. You was never going to be fired. But it was a particular off season where it seemed like after you had a disaster in 2020 that you may have to earn that next extension. And that was rightfully so because you were 0-5 versus rivals. I mean, it's
Well, and
ridiculous that
also
Michigan
think
fans have to
about that
continue to go through
2020
this.
season. That's not. It wasn't just like, oh man, we were 500. That was bad. That was a disaster of a season. I think it was what, two and
Right.
four, 2-5. Like, dude,
Yes.
that's not just a normal season. That was
Absolutely not.
awful. Like, so it's not as if it was just like, we had a tough year. You were 2-5. Like, that was atrocious. I just I don't know. I'm just at a loss. Honestly, I don't understand it. My thing is, to me, to have this much kind of back and forth of having this type of job, because let's also make it clear, like, it's not as if Jim Harbaugh is getting paid pennies, even in the coaching realm, in the coaching scale, right? We get it. These coaches make millions of dollars. It's crazy, but the thing is if I'm not mistaken, I read that I think he got $500,000 for winning the Big Ten title, and I believe another $500,000 for playing in a playoff game. I might be off on those, but nonetheless, I mean, it's not as if he's making the coaching equivalent of nothing. Like, he's still making a pretty hefty salary. So to me, it can't just be the money. So it's
It's not
gotta
the
be
money, Des.
coaching in the NFL. And if you want this so badly, like, you know what I mean? Like, just go and do it, because seemingly this itch is never going to go away. Like,
No.
it's just never going to go away. And I do think there's a part of it that some of it is truly just rumors. But at this point, I mean, if you're having conversations with NFL owners, ones who have a head coaching vacancy, you're probably trying to get a job. Like, and if that's the case, because even for the most adamant Harbaugh defenders, even you have got to get tired of this every single year. I mean, every single year. Like, that's the interesting thing, is like, it is seriously every single year, and that is just wild.
So I will defend him on this point. Uh, there are the pros and cons and the good and bad of being in the position that he is. Uh, Des just outlined one of them that's obvious. He is one of the top, before the salary reduction, I know that he was like top 3 or 4, and I think they just reinstated him to where he was. So he's like a top 3 or 4 paid coach. So that's the benefit of being where you are and achieving to that point. But there's also the cons are that the three of us could be weighing 2 different jobs, and we don't have to answer to it. We don't have to go, to the media and make something up, or, while we're holding off on what we're going to do. And I do understand how he could be, based on his career trajectory of had success in the NFL, didn't quite get that Super Bowl championship. He's at his school. He obviously loves Michigan, and he's knocking on the door of a championship. So I can understand an internal struggle there.
Yeah, I think the main thing, guys, is not. I don't care what he wants to do with his career. At the end of the day, it comes down to try to be straightforward. Enough of the games. To me, at this point, if you love the university the way you say you do, you're putting the university in a tough bind, right? And what I really think he needs to do is, and this may never happen, is that he needs to find a way to either resign, take a step back. Maybe he just can't find the right job, right? I mean, do you need to take a step back, wait for the right job, and go to NFL? But this back and forth, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not fair to the university, to the players that he's recruiting, the players that are on campus. It's not fair for anyone. And it's clear that this is just in him. It's never going to go away. Well, if that's the case, okay, Jim, do right by us, and help us find a successor, maybe under your staff or some other way, and go pursue what you want to do for the later half of your career, right? But I don't think it's just not right. It's just not right what he's doing. And I think it's setting the program up for a slide when he decides to leave. I think it's a matter not a matter of if, a matter of when. And it's a totally different situation. But my fear is that you could see a MSU type slide when D'Antonio resigned for them. The program was in a bad state. He wasn't recruiting as well, not because he was looking to the NFL, but clearly he was starting to check out in terms of being as motivated to build the program the way it needed to be built, getting the right players, making the right staff changes, right? You saw what happened to MSU after he left. It took them. It was inopportune timing, right? So I'm not saying that will happen to Michigan if Harbaugh decides to leave, but I just think you're setting that situation up by the way he's going about it.
Hey, Des, did you say where that report came from that he had a conversation with the Panthers owner? Because if it's just a conversation and they have yet to interview, they need to keep that under wraps. They need to do their best just to have a personal phone call or something. If it's truly not in the interview phase, then why get everybody riled up and why?
Because that's what Mark. That's what he does. That's what Jimmy does. He's done it. He's done it at San Francisco. He does it everywhere. That's why he burns bridges.
Think about it. Someone had put it in the chat that it's a negotiating tactic because to me this coming out would only. The weird part is it only helps and hurts Jim Harbaugh because if you're gonna stay, this hurts you because it's like, man, he's once again flirting with the NFL. But if you plan to leave, then I guess it doesn't really matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like because if you're trying to make this as a bargaining chip of, to go back to Ward Manuel, who, I mean, literally had to be forced to give you any type of repercussion after that. I mean, Ward Manuel was forced to do that. Essentially, it came down to it. I feel confident in saying he did not want to do that. That it's like, man, I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like, so a guy who, to me, has clearly always shown that he's got your back. If you're just trying to essentially like strong arm him, saying, well, hey, listen, I got this offer from the NFL, blah blah blah, I need more money. I really don't.
I'll tell you what you do, Des. How about we don't play games? You know what you do now, Jimmy? This is the plus of winning. Just put those 2 Big Ten championship trophies on your desk and say, if you want this to continue, pay me what I'm worth. That's what you do. You don't have to play this game about, man, well, if I leave, go to NFL. You have something tangible you can point to. And guys, you should be to hear the frustration in my voice. It's just it's just not necessary. Right? It's not necessary. And why does it have to be Harbaugh? If it's such a normal type, if he isn't doing anything wrong, this is just Michigan fans complaining. Now, how come other big time programs have to deal with this on a year-to-year basis? Answer that for me. I can be critical of the man and appreciate what he's done. Right? I appreciate the turnaround the last 2 years. Make no mistake about it. But what I don't appreciate is the conundrum that you're putting this university in. And you're setting up a situation that you're not going to sustain this level of success. Because who are you bringing in terms of players? Why should they trust you, right? It seems to be, especially in today's football, it's like, well, it's a lot of mobility. Like I really don't think it's fair. And I understand some people are bringing it up, well, be careful, because remember how Rich Rod and Brady Holt were. You cannot operate in fear. And I said this, and Des, me and you echoed this sentiment the same back when Harbaugh, so before we joined the channel, but in our own conversations, we always echo that you cannot be afraid to make a change because of who you're going to get, right? Or who is next, or what if we go back? You are the University of Michigan. Figure it out.
And that's what
Figure it out.
You are the biggest brand in the world in college football, college sports. The Block M is, I would argue, the biggest brand. So don't like, you just can't have it both ways. You can't on one side say we're Michigan, but then on the other side is that, well, we just can't get a good coach. Like, I don't know who we're gonna get. You should feel confident you can get just about, outside of 2 or 3 guys out there, anybody.
And now you've seen it can be done.
Yes. Yes,
You know,
LSU showed us it can be done. USC showed us it can be done. And what was USC
yes, it can be
before
done.
this season? Like it
Right.
can be
You can
done.
have a quick turnaround. Right. You
Yes,
know,
and you
is
don't
it
need a
now? Is
turnaround.
it no? Right. You're already here. You know, and now would it be some level of adjustment? Sure. I mean, because that coach, look, no one's Jim Harbaugh. Okay, like no one really runs his offense the way he does. No one definitely doesn't have his personality. You know, that's not necessarily a diss. I'm just saying he's a different guy. But you know, fact of the matter is, you see that you can have success at Michigan. You see that. So that is very appealing. The University of Michigan job, if it opened up, is a top 10 job. It's a top 10 job. And I'm being modest.
I was just
I'm
gonna
being
say
modest to me,
I
in my
may
opinion.
argue higher than that.
Yeah,
It's a
I was going to
terrific
say,
job.
Fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're not being
Yeah. I'm
biased,
being very
Brandon.
modest.
You're
I'm
actually
trying
being
not to be a humble.
conservative. You're being reasonable.
Right.
You're being very
Thank you.
reasonable.
Yeah. And I'm trying not to sound like a homer. So I'm like, oh, we got the number one, you know, so it's just um I don't know, man. It's just like don't operate. Speaking of fans right now, don't operate in fear. We don't have to kiss this guy's butt. You know, he's done. The last 2 years, he's finally done what he was projected to do, right? What he was
Hmm.
paid top dollars to do. It took him a long time, but he's finally done it. So, you know, okay, you know, like, but I'm not going to kiss your butt. I'm not going to throw up a statue for you. You know, if you want to leave, you want to keep playing this game here. I don't want to play no more, and you're gonna have to make a decision. That's just it. I think it's time to do something or get off the pot. You know.
Real quick, let me acknowledge these super chats. Steve Day's burner account is lighting it up right now. Thank you again. It says Harbaugh has essentially lied. He said himself that Sharon Moore is more than ready to be a head coach. Harbaugh is persona non grata and get out of here. And one scoop John, thank you, says how many other colleges have a coach with such a high NFL winning percentage? Zero others. He got 49ers to a Super Bowl. That's at least part of the answer. Mark?